Basically, though, I took the Zopiclone at about 9 o'clock. I had a drink or two, and that was a huge mistake. The next thing I remember, it was like 10 o'clock in the morning the next day, and I was being woken up in a jail cell. So let me tell you how I got there. Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Thank you for being here. Today I'm going to be talking about a drug called Zopiclone or Zopiclone. I'm not quite sure how it's pronounced. I heard it both ways. And it's a drug I've experimented with, I think 3 times overall I did it. It was many years ago. I was with one of my exes at the time when I think I was 21, 22, something like that. And okay, I don't recommend this drug at all. I had a terrible experience with it the 3rd time and the last time, and I will explain what happened. Although the hallucinations I got from this drug were maybe the most bizarre hallucinations I've ever got from any drug ever. Just purely in terms of hallucinations, these ones were very strange. It wasn't like acid where everything is moving around a little bit. Everything you look at is wavy. This was strange because everything looked normal, except every once in a while you would see a very lifelike hallucination. And that was kind of creepy because when you're not really in that dreamy, woozy state, and when you see hallucinations, it's kind of like jarring and scary. And these ones were, I don't know, in my experience, they were all very creepy and dark and sort of, they seemed like they were out of a horror movie. So let me explain this drug. So I shouldn't say that. Let's see. Okay, we got these pills from somebody who had a prescription. Now, the thing with Zopiclone is that if you take it and you don't fall asleep, like you force yourself to stay awake, it's a sleeping pill. Did I mention that? I think I did. But if you force yourself to stay awake, then you get these crazy, bizarre hallucinations. And it's hard to keep yourself up, though. And then also another thing about Zopiclone is that it has no euphoric value. It doesn't boost your dopamine or your serotonin or anything like that. So it doesn't make you feel good. It doesn't really make you feel bad. It makes you feel tired and it makes you see crazy, crazy hallucinations. So what we did, my ex was told this from a friend of hers, that this is what they did. And we tried it a couple times and it worked quite well. But you take the Zopiclone with some MDMA. Now, apparently this friend of hers did this all the time, and she's done it a couple times too before I had met her. And I can't find any trip reports online of that combination. It's a pretty, it's not a common drug to use recreationally, and then let alone to be combined with something else. So that's the first reason I would definitely not recommend this combination, is because there's not much known about it, and it's like a stimulant combined with a sleeping pill, which generally, when they're opposites like that, you don't want to combine them. Sometimes it can be safe, but really just don't experiment with that if, there's no information about it online. I was young and dumb, and, I took her word for it. Anyways, we didn't overdose or anything like that. But as you will learn in a few minutes here, is that my 3rd trip on it was, I did something really stupid on Zopiclone. And it impacted my life for a long time. But the first 2 trips were quite trip report worthy. So let me start with those. So, I can't distinguish between the 2 trips, so I'll just recall the moments I remember most about the Zopiclone trips. So, like I said, we took them with MDMA, and you don't really notice it coming on. This was really weird. We were sitting in my bedroom, and I think my brother was in there too, and we were just playing video games or something like that. And my ex and I were tripping. We're on the MDMA, and everything just seemed normal, like a normal MDMA trip, and no hallucinations or anything like that. I forgot about the Zopiclone, really, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, my wall just started folding in on itself. Like, it started like caving in, and my entire room just started like warping in on me. Like, it's like it was shrinking, like it was caving in on me. It was really weird, and it was really intense and lifelike, and it came out of nowhere. And so when that happened, I kind of got freaked out and told them what happened. And I remember my ex telling me that we'll just call her Becky for now. So Becky was like, yeah, that happens. That's normal. I remember that happening too. And so eventually we ended up going out in my backyard. Now, at that time, I lived in a rural area. I keep saying that word in my streams, in my videos. That word keeps coming up, and I hate that freaking word, rural. It doesn't sound, I'm getting better at it, though. That didn't sound bad. Rural. You just really got to go for it. Rural. No, no, that sounded bad again. Okay, forget it. It sounds like rural. It doesn't even sound like a freaking word. Anyways. Okay, so we went outside into my rural area backyard, and that property was about 4 acres, kind of in the middle of nowhere. It wasn't really far, but anyways, it was a big backyard, and there was a barn there from the previous owners. It was pretty much a farm. It was a property meant for a farm, but we never really went back there, and so the whole 4 acres basically went to not to use. We really didn't put to use at all. I'm what you call an avid indoorsman. Anyways, I keep saying anyways lately. I noticed in my videos. I've been trying to cut that out. So anyhow, we go out into my backyard, and it was about 2 or 3 in the morning at this point. I think it was very late at night, I remember, and we were walking around, my ex and I, and there's sort of these fences set up in the yard, I guess before, to keep the cows. They gotta graze on one spot and then go to the next spot and then let the other part grow back, so they move them around, right? I learned this from watching my neighbor. Anyhow, I say anyhow now. So we went back there. There were no cows at this time of the year. He butchered them eventually. He was a beef farmer. And you could hear them screaming. You could hear the screams from my property. It was not good. It was not a good thing. Buffalo Bert, we called him. That was his nickname. He was a wild man from Sweden, and he drank this. What is it? That vodka with like gold flakes in it. Some weird drink, and it was not good. And he made moonshine, which was also not good. And he was an interesting guy, though. Interesting guy, though, to say the least. He was a great neighbor. Anyways, what was I at? Where was I at? This is weird, and believe you can choose to believe this or not, but she saw a spider on me. And it wasn't not a real spider, but like a spider made of like this black thread-like shadowy substance. It's sort of weird. Like on Zopiclone, you would see like this weird black like spider web like material in the corner of your eyes and in the corner of like rooms and stuff, and it was really weird, and it would be like this weird shroud, and I just wanted to say shroud, but she saw a spider made of that stuff on my hand, and she was picking it up and playing with it, and it was moving around her arms. She was dropping it back on me and stuff, and then I saw the spider. I started seeing the freaking spider. And I'm like, oh my God, there it is. And when I told her I could see it too, she said that this is something that apparently happens sometimes. She's experienced it before, where people would see the same things. And she was playing around with the spider, and we were passing it back and forth, and it was crawling up my arm, and I put it on her arm, and this spider was so cool. And again, I hate to be, and to be a buzzkill or whatever, but I don't think that means we're seeing something like that's real and like a part of both our realities. I think those were both 2 separate hallucinations. We were just vibing so well and on such the same wavelength energy wise that the power of suggestion is very strong, and I think that's what was affecting me. But I definitely wasn't lying to myself or making it up. I did see it, but were we seeing the same thing? I don't think so. Of course not. But those black shadowy spider web shadows were like a really weird phenomenon on that drug, and it seemed to have a part to play in like whatever else you saw. And so when she saw the spider and started moving around, picking up, it was very dark out too, so we couldn't see much. But I started seeing that spider wherever her hands were, and we were both looking at the same thing. So we were probably just vibing so much, and that our brains came to the same they generated the same thing. It's like sort of dreams, if you're really in like a lucid dream state, you can control those to a large degree. So being able to control your hallucinations, that's sort of like the same thing to me. It doesn't surprised me that the brain can do this. And I probably just wanted to see it really bad, and so I did. And the last hallucination I remember from that night is I was in my driveway at one point, and we were talking, and we were just wandering around my yard that night. It was fun to be outside, and it was very late out too, like I said. But I was in my driveway, and at one point I looked over at my car. It was the shitty green neon, if you remember from my shitty cars vlog, where I talk about all the shitty cars I've owned. Which is a good video. You should check that out if you want just a funny video that has nothing to do with drugs. But it was that shitty green neon, I remember, and it was sitting there. And at one point, I looked over at the neon, and there was a dude sitting there in the front seat. It wasn't like an alien or an entity or a robot or anything like that. It was a human being in normal clothes that didn't look like a hallucination. It looked like a real human being sitting in my car. And that's what I mean by these hallucinations were so weird and unique. The shadowy spider, the perfectly lifelike human beings, the fact that they would come out of nowhere and everything else looks normal in between. And the zombies, that was also something you wouldn't really see on acid or mushrooms. That was like you might see something like that on acid or mushrooms, but everything would look weird. Like that was just like normal life, and then the hallucinations themselves, which was the zombies. And it was really cool. And that was the end of my good memories. The next time we did it, I took too much. I think I took 1 or 2 pills too many, and I started blacking out because I made the huge mistake of having a couple glasses of wine with it, which if you just research a little bit, you can see that obviously you don't mix sleeping pills and wine. And that was the biggest drug mistake I've ever made in my life. Was it dangerous in the sense that I might die? No. If you do enough, maybe. But like I said, there's not much known on like that drug or like the overdose potential and stuff like that. I don't think I was in danger of that at all. But the problem with taking sleeping pills and alcohol is that can put you into a really, really intense blackout state where you're awake and you might seem like you're sober even, but you're not at all, and you're totally out of it, and you can do totally crazy things on it. Like there's that story. It's not a story. It's a true story of this man who I killed, I believe, his daughter. It might have been his son or something like that on Ambien during he woke up in the middle of the night. I don't know if he's drinking or anything like that, but he was in a blackout state, and he killed his child. And so that's the type of state it can put you in. And he got off, he was found innocent and everything. It was a real awful, awful tragedy. And I did something very stupid, not to that degree, obviously, but my ex at the next day, like the last thing I remember that night, I remember, oh yeah, I took a couple of Zopiclone, and then I remember having a drink or two, and then I don't remember anything after that. 6:30 in the morning when I woke up, and my ex needed to get to work, and we only had one car at the time, and so I had to drive her because I needed the car or something like that. I had to drive her for whatever reason, and I don't remember that. I don't remember that because I woke up. No, I don't think yeah, that's right. I did not fall asleep that night. Again, everything from here forward is going off of what my ex told me happened. I don't remember anything. The next thing I remember, the first conscious moment I remember is waking up in a jail cell. And let me tell you how I got there. So my ex woke up at 6:30, and she said I was still awake. And she was kind of like, what are you doing still awake? And I don't know what I said, but apparently I was acting normal. I have some doubts about that. I will touch on that later, but apparently I was acting normal, and I went through with the plan. It said, okay, you need a ride to work, right? So let's drive you to work. It's about 3 or 4 kilometers away. And so apparently I drove her all the way to work. I don't remember this. And if you think I'm getting in trouble like legally here, don't worry. I already did. So this was very stupid, by the way. I'm not like obviously not proud of this, but like I'm not sharing this because I'm not ashamed of it. I'm sharing it and I'm ashamed of it. It was very stupid, but I think it's a worthy trip report. So I drove her to work on Marine Drive, which is a busy beachfront street with tons of restaurants. She was a cook, and I dropped her off, And apparently, I got into a big argument with her boss when we got there. I don't remember any of this. Keep that in mind. I got into a big verbal argument with him. I was cursing him out and swearing at him, and probably obviously because of some crazy drunken Zopiclone induced misconception I had, like, what did you say about my wife? Or something like that, and I don't remember. I don't remember what it was, and I didn't get any insight afterwards as to what it was. But apparently, I got into a big fight with him, and then I didn't become physical or anything like that. But eventually, at one point, and apparently, my ex and I were fighting too. Who knows what about? But at one point, I got into my car. I backed into a dumpster, apparently, and then I pulled out onto the busy street. And then I pulled onto a side street, and then I hit a parked car on the side of the street, and then I backed up across the street and hit another parked car. So that's a dumpster and 2 parked cars that I hit. At that point, I proceeded to pass out on the steering wheel, and I fell asleep on the steering wheel. And I know that's how the cops found me, because when I was in court, that picture was presented to the judge. The officer said, "Judge, I went to court because she fucked a lot of things up, the officer." And so she presented this photo of me to the judge, of me just like passed out on my steering wheel, like comatose, like an idiot. I was total idiot that night. If I made it onto the highway, I would have killed someone. But let me please stress that I do not remember a single moment of that. Waking up, or apparently I was up all night. I don't remember deciding to drive her. And she told me I was acting normal. I don't know if I believe her or not. She was a compulsive liar, first of all, and also, I think if she did just say, whatever, I need to get to work, let him drive me, he seems okay, I think maybe that's what happened. And then I got in a crash, and then she felt really bad because she obviously shouldn't have let me drive her to fucking work. Obviously. Do I blame her more for the situation than myself? No. I shouldn't have drank. That was stupid. That was the biggest mistake of the night. But also, you don't let someone drive in that state. And if she didn't realize I was fucked up, she's kind of, I don't know, that's kind of stupid, to be honest with you. But anyways, no hard feelings. Good thing I wasn't heading to my other home. I was heading back to her house, because you need to get on the highway to get there. And who knows what could have happened. It could have been a lot worse. I didn't hurt anybody. I did smash a few cars, though. I was under insurance. And okay, here's the thing. They breathalyzed me. I don't remember this still. Apparently I blew a .006, which at the time they had this weird rule that if you blow between .006 and .008, it's called a warn, which you get like a small penalty for that, and your license suspended for a little bit. You don't need to get the breathalyzer in your car or a DUI or anything like that. That's a .08 or above. So I was right on the cusp. And that rule is only there for a short period of time, which is so dumb. And then they got rid of it eventually. And so there's a big class action lawsuit for people who got that charge, because there was also a thing where the breathalyzers might have been faulty at the time. Anyways, that class action didn't go through, but I took the case to court, God damn, because I just got this car recently. 10 days before that happened, I got that car. And there's a rule in Canada where you're allowed 10 days to switch the insurance over to your name. You have 10 days. And it was on the 10th day when I got in a crash. So I was still legal up till midnight that night for my insurance. And because I blew a warn, I didn't get charged with that wasn't a serious offense. The big problem was getting charged with no insurance. She charged me with that. But that I was actually perfectly innocent of. I did have insurance for that one extra day. She thought because it was on the 10th day, she got confused that it's on the 10th day, it doesn't count or something, or she counted day 0 or something like that. She miscounted a day. And so that's why I took it to court. My father is actually really good with that stuff. He pointed that out and said, yeah, you definitely take this to court. She didn't, that's wrong. You had insurance. And I did. And so I also blew a warrant. And then, okay, I was fucked up, though, obviously on the sleeping pills, but they had no way of proving that, which I don't know what happened. I guess they thought I was just really fucked up from like 1 or 2 beers. not all of them did though. One officer caught on, and he sort of winked at me more or less. I'll tell you about that in a second. But so, anyways, or I'll tell you about that right now. So, okay, I know the story's all over the place a bit, but so at the end of that ordeal, I ended up at the cop station. They found me there. Someone obviously called the cops on me. It's a busy area, and they picked me up, took me to court. They crushed my car. They impounded it. I couldn't afford to get it out, so they crushed it. It was a cheap car, anyways. But I was in the jail cell, and then the next day I was woken up by an officer when my father was there to pick me up, and that's the first thing I remember. I was very, very groggy and hungover, very, very, very much so. And apparently afterwards my dad told me that the officers told him that I was very, very polite to them the whole night. I was like, please and thank you and stuff, and I was all like totally cool with being in a jail cell. I guess I didn't know what was going on, but apparently I was like super polite. And I think that might have boded well in my favor, because the first thing I remember actually is walking out of the cop station. I don't remember the jail cell or anything like that. I started coming to about a minute after I woke up. And then when I was stepping into the back seat of my father's car, my brother was there too. One of the officers looked at me, and he told me, he said, I forget exactly what he said, I'm paraphrasing here, but it's something very similar to this. He said, between you and me, like, I know you're on something else other than the alcohol, right? And I don't know what I said. I think I was dumb, and I pretty much said, like, yeah, or like, or I don't know. I didn't like deny it or whatever, but I could tell he was like totally fine with it. Basically, he was just giving me a warning. He's like, don't, be careful, whatever you're on, whatever you're doing, you got off lucky pretty much, because we're only charging with you with the no insurance and the warrant, which the no insurance was bullshit, because that was I did have insurance. I went to court anyways, and I got off in the no insurance, and I got off on the warrant as well, because the photographs the officer took of me, she took photographs of me in the back seat of her cruiser, and she took the photos right up close to the window of me in her cruiser. She had to document that this type of case apparently is very tricky too. There's a lot of like things you got. This fucking truck is so loud. Like what the? That's so fucking loud. Anyways, apparently this trick has a lot of this trick. Why did I say that word? Trick. This type of case has a lot of like details to it, and you need to document it perfectly for it to go through in court. And she fucked up. She took the picture of me too close to her police cruiser. Apparently the photo needs to show that I'm in a police cruiser, so it needs to be of the whole car. It needs to show me in the car. But she was right up to the window, and so the judge was like, that could have been a photo of him in anyone's car, And the judge was cool. She was this badass bitch who really helped me out, and I'm very good at being polite and telling people what they want to hear, And in the court, I'm just like, I'm very sorry, Your Honor. It was very dumb of me, and you just gotta basically bite your tongue and just act like an idiot and act apologetic. I've noticed at least Canadian court systems are very responsive to that. If you're apologetic and it's like a first time you've done something like that. You can't just be like,
I didn't do it. I don't deserve this shit.
You can't do that. You just gotta be like, I'm sorry. You gotta be a little bitch, basically.
And it worked.
And I got off on both the things, and it was great. But anyways, I hit the cars, and that upped my insurance a lot. And then also I had to like pay the impound lot fees, and my car got crushed, so I did lose out a lot monetarily because of that. But all in all, I got pretty lucky. I got pretty lucky for considering I did something very stupid. Although I was blackout drunk, so was it stupid? Really? I mean, yeah, it was. Yeah, you shouldn't drink at all. You shouldn't trust your dumb ex with advice on like how to do a drug. I was pretty much like, okay, you've done it before. I'm gonna have some wine. She's like, okay. Next thing I know, I'm woke up in jail. Anyways, that was Zopiclone. You got to mix it with something else to get any like fun out of it. Otherwise, it's just like very terrifying and tiring and groggy. So that's not ideal and potentially very dangerous. And then also, it can, if you take a little too much, it's sort of like a benzodiazepine. You black out and you could end up taking more and more. It's something I did on benzos too. Anytime I blacked out on benzos, I'd wake up and like a day later and they'd all be gone. It's not good. Yeah, it's something I would not recommend. Although those hallucinations were very cool, the mental load on that drug was so minimal and non-existent that it really wasn't worth it. It really wasn't worth it at all. Oh, I thought my phone was about to die, but no, we're good. But I'm about to end it anyways. So yeah, they were some of the most realistic, strangest hallucinations I've ever had in my life. Very unique, unlike anything else. They were very lifelike, and they didn't look like hallucinations, and they came out of nowhere. All right, guys, thank you so much. Thanks for all the support lately. I'm on cloud 9 lately. You know, this channel's doing great. That $2,000 stream has been amazing. Hundreds of subs are coming in, and it's amazing. Thank you all for being here, and let's go. Let's do this. Let's go to the top. We're going to the top. Isn't that a Motley Crue song? I'm pretty sure it is. And we're going there, and it's gonna be sweet. And there's gonna be a lot of sex there, and drugs, and rock and roll, baby. All right. Yeah, fuck yeah. All right, I'm jazzed. I'm in a great mood, as if you cannot tell. All right, peace out. I love you all. Really, I love you all romantically. Bye. Mwah. Mwah.